What is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a very fun exercise in Dynasty Fantasy Football, and that is going to be the buy, sell, or hold exercise. Would I be looking to buy, meaning would I be looking to trade for this player? Would I be looking to sell, meaning I would be looking to trade away this player? Or would I be looking to hold this player? We're going to be going in depth into 5 different players who I believe are all very interesting in terms of the Dynasty Fantasy Football realm. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help us out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first player I want to discuss in today's video is Brandin Cooks, wide receiver of the Houston Texans. He is currently 28.6 years old. He will become a UFA in 2025, but the Houston Texans do have a potential out on that contract in 2024, so it's not a mortal lock of the century that he is going to be with the Houston Texans all the way until 2025, but that does seem like a likely outcome. Now, in terms of Brandin Cooks, would I be looking to buy, sell, or hold him in terms of Dynasty? If I had Brandin Cooks, I would definitely be looking to hold him because I believe that a second round draft pick is what you probably have to pay for him, right? Second round rookie draft capital for Brandin Cooks. I'd probably hold him for that price because I think that Brandin Cooks could easily be a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football in 2022 and potentially for a couple of years going forward. Now, am I going to project him in my rankings as a top 12 wide receiver? No. But I do say that he could be a top 12 wide receiver because this man has been the definition of consistency over his NFL career, and I would not be surprised at all if he eclipsed over 1,000 receiving yards just like he did last year. So if I have Brandin Cooks, I'm holding him. There's no way you can get Brandin Cooks off my hands. And if I don't have Brandin Cooks, then I'm looking to buy Brandin Cooks because that second round rookie draft pick, I really think that's worth it for Brandin Cooks. I do believe, like I said, that he could be a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football, and things might even get better. I understand he's 28.6 years old, and this year he'll be 29 years old, and the next year he'll be 30 years old. Pretty easy to figure that out. But yeah, even at 30 years old, I think next season, if they don't have Davis Mills, if they draft a new quarterback, things could get even better in Houston. Now, I'm actually not a huge fan of Davis Mills, right? I don't have a Davis Mills fucking poster next to my bed, but I do think that Davis Mills he may not have it to be a starting NFL quarterback for the next 10 years, to be the franchise guy for the Houston Texans, but he's not as bad as people seem to make him out to be. So in 2021, Brandin Cooks, in 16 games, finished as the wide receiver 20.5 PPR and the wide receiver number 23.5 PPR points per game. He had 133 targets, 8.3 per game, ranking 12th at wide receiver, 90 receptions, 5.6 per game, 13th at wide receiver, 1,037 receiving yards, 64.8 per game, 20th at wide receiver, and 6 total touchdowns, number 20th at wide receiver. So even with a pretty shitty Houston Texans team, I don't expect them to make this huge leap the next couple of years, but I think that maybe if Davis Mills gets even just slightly better, plays slightly better, then you can make the argument that Brandin Cooks could finish as a top 12 wide receiver. He was top 12 in targets. He was number 13 in receptions. He was 20th in receiving yards. Maybe he gets 8-9 touchdowns, and even with only getting around 1,000 receiving yards, if he's scoring 9 touchdowns, then he might go from wide receiver 20.5 PPR all the way up to wide receiver number 16, wide receiver number 15, maybe even inside the top 12 if he is just catching a bunch of touchdowns. And that, for a second round rookie draft pick, is just worth it. I have been a huge fan of Brandin Cooks throughout his career. There are going to be people that tell you, oh, Nick, Brandin Cooks is injury prone because he's been concussed a couple of times. He's not really even missing that many games on a per season standpoint. So I think in 2022 and beyond, Brandin Cooks is a humongous sleeper in your dynasty fantasy football drafts. He's a sleeper in your best ball drafts, in your regular fantasy football redraft drafts, and for a second round rookie draft pick, I will take Brandin Cooks all the time. So if you're able to acquire Brandin Cooks for that, then you need to go ahead and do that. And if you have Brandin Cooks, just hold him unless, of course, someone says, oh, I want Brandin Cooks, I'll give you a first-round pick. Then, of course, you're going to trade him. But we're just talking about basing this upon normal value. And based upon normal value, I would be looking to hold Brandin Cooks. Before we go ahead and get into the next wide receiver, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsor over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy are known for their NFL best ball tournaments. However, Underdog does not stop there. Underdog has plenty of other contests for you to compete in, including live draft contests and pick'ems in which you can make up to 20 times your entry fee. Use promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $100. Make sure you guys do get started on Underdog Fantasy today. And if you don't want to type in the promo code, I get it. Sometimes I don't want to do that either. Just click on the link in the video description. It will automatically put the promo code in there for you. So the next player I want to be discussing in today's video is going to be Saquon Barkley, running back of the New York Football Giants. Saquon Barkley, currently 25.2 years old, and will be a UFA after this season in 2023. Congratulations to Saquon Barkley, who graduated from Penn State yesterday. That's a huge accomplishment. But guess what? The fact that you are a Penn State graduate doesn't mean shit to me in terms of Dynasty Fantasy Football, because Saquon Barkley is a sell. Because there are still people, likely in your fantasy football league, in your Dynasty Fantasy Football league, that believe that there are greener pastures for Saquon Barkley. That Saquon Barkley, despite sucking complete and utter donkey peen the last couple of years, is going to have this insane turnaround. Be amazing in 2022 and going forward. And again, could that happen? Yes, it definitely could, because Saquon Barkley has the skill set. But my problem is that I don't think the Giants are going to completely change things up this year and just be fantastic. And I also don't know where he's going to go in 2023. If he re-signs with the Giants, who knows if that's even the best landing spot for him. So looking at 2022 and a couple of years from now, I am very concerned with the output of what Saquon Barkley could be doing. In 2021, Saquon Barkley played in 13 total games, finishing as the running back 32.5 PPR and the running back number 33.5 PPR points per game. He had 162 carries, 12.5 per game, ranking 26th at running back, 593 rushing yards, 45.6 per game, 35th at running back, 57 targets, 4.4 per game, ranking 12th, 41 receptions, 3.1 per game, 29th, 263 receiving yards, 20.2 per game, 29th at running back, and 4 total touchdowns, 39th at running back. So even if you project Saquon Barkley, maybe he doesn't miss those couple of games, right? Maybe he plays a full season, then he's still not this top 12 running back. He was running back 33.5 PPR points per game. Even when he was healthy, this guy was struggling immensely. Now I understand Nick Joe Judge is gone. This is a new regime in New York. Look how the Giants drafted. Things are going to get better in New York. And I agree. Things are probably going to get better in New York, right? Things are probably going to get better for the Giants. But at the end of the day, how long of a leash do you want to have on Saquon Barkley? How many years in a row can this guy completely screw you over to eventually you're going to just have to have enough? You're going to have enough, and you're going to have to cut ties with Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm not trading Saquon Barkley for a third-round rookie pick. I'm not doing that. But if someone believes in Saquon Barkley, because it seems like there's a lot of people that believe in Saquon Barkley. There's a lot of people that believe that he is going to turn things around, that things are going to get so much better this year and going forward for Saquon Barkley. Then please just trade him. And if you're someone who believes in Saquon Barkley in 2022, then tell me why. Tell me what is giving you that. Because even when the guy was healthy, he didn't show me the it factor that he had early on his career. Very early on his career, Saquon Barkley looked like one of the best running backs in the NFL. And even when healthy last year, I just didn't see those flashes. I didn't see the flashes of old Saquon Barkley, the flashes of greatness that I was seeing previously in his career. So, again, do I think that Saquon Barkley could turn it around? He could. But am I betting on that? No. So I'm looking to sell Saquon Barkley right now. Next up, we move to my main man, Dawson Knox. One time, if you are with me, tight end of the Buffalo Bills, 25.4 years old. He will be a UFA in 2023. My best bet, though, would be that the Buffalo Bills look to re-sign him. Now, Dawson Knox, if you drafted him in his rookie draft, you were probably pissed off because Dawson Knox didn't do shit at all. It was like Josh Allen was Stevie Wonder in the pocket when he was looking at a tight end. It was like there was no tight end even on the field. Dawson Knox was not involved in the slightest. But in 2021, miraculously, Josh Allen had this epiphany and just started feeding Dawson Knox in the red zone. In 2021, playing in 15 games, he finished as the tight end 8.5 PPR and the tight end number 8.5 PPR points per game. He had 71 targets, 4.7 per game, ranking 20th, 49 receptions, 3.3 per game, 18th. He had 587 receiving yards, 39.1 per game, 15th, and 9 total touchdowns, number 2 at the tight end position. Now, touchdowns is something that is very difficult to project on a year-in, year-out standpoint. It is because sometimes you luck into these touchdowns. It's not a guarantee that Josh Allen is just going to have this crystal clear vision on Dawson Knox in the red zone that he's just going to laser eyes to him. I get that. But when you are on the Buffalo Bills that lost other receiver targets like Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley, why would you believe that Dawson Knox is going to get knocked down a humongous peg in terms of touchdowns? Maybe he only scores 7 touchdowns, but even if that is still the case, he's still going to be a top 12 dynasty tight end for the next couple of years. Now, my only worry with Dawson Knox has nothing to do with Dawson Knox. It just has to do with the fact that maybe the Buffalo Bills don't pay him. That maybe they let him walk. And if they do let him walk, if they don't pay him, then I might be concerned if he lands in a shitty situation. But with how good Dawson Knox looked in 2021, with how good I project him to look in 2022, then there's no reason for him to be gone. And again, if he is gone, I think the team that pays him the money is going to use him. Maybe they don't use him as good as they did in Buffalo, but I do think he's going to be a starting tight end in the NFL for a while. He's only 25.4 years old. He's at least locked to this Buffalo team for 2022. This is going to be one of the best teams in the NFL yet again, a dominant force in the AFC. I expect Dawson Knox to look good this year. I expect him to look good going forward. So Dawson Knox is a huge buy for me. If you don't have Dawson Knox on your team and you don't have one of those elite tight ends, I would be actively looking to get Dawson Knox from whoever has him in your league because this guy has top 3 potential in 2022 and going forward. The next player I want to discuss in today's video is going to be Trey Lance, quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. He is 22 years old, and he'll be a UFA in 2026. Now, the team drafts him very highly in the 2021 NFL draft, but we never really got to fully see Trey Lance. Because he played some games when Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt. He got in some games, but it wasn't a huge sample size, right? 6 games played. Quarterback 40 on the season, quarterback 41 in points per game, 71 passing attempts, 11.8 per game, 48th at quarterback, 603 passing yards, 100.5 per game, 46th at quarterback, 57.7% completion percentage, 5 passing touchdowns at a 7% rate, which is very high, but I'm not just going to project him to not throw a bunch of touchdowns because he threw a 7% rate in 2021 because it was a very small sample size. He had 2 interceptions, 39 rushes, 168 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. I am looking to buy Trey Lance right now while there is still confusion about the San Francisco 49ers. I think the second that Jimmy Garoppolo is gone, or the second that the 49ers really solidify the fact that Trey Lance is going to be the starter going forward, that Trey Lance's trade value is going to keep building up. It's going to continue to get higher and higher to the point where maybe you don't even want to trade for him because you're giving up such a high price to where Trey Lance needs to be like this franchise guy, this top 5 guy year in, year out in fantasy football, and maybe you don't see that. Do I see that? Yes, I do think that is possible because of his rushing upside, but the second that everything's good with Jimmy Garoppolo, that Jimmy Garoppolo has been pushed to the side, once Deebo Samuel is like locked and loaded as their number 1 receiver in San Francisco, that there's no more of this trade talk, blah, 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 then Trey Lance's ADP is going to move in fantasy football drafts, in best ball drafts, in your dynasty startup drafts, and his value is going to continue to rise again, and maybe you don't want to pay that price. So right now, when there is confusion surrounding around Trey Lance, I would look to prance, to hop on and get on the Trey Lance train. Is Trey Lance the next Tom Brady? Probably not. Probably not. Honestly, I don't even think I should say probably not. I should probably just say fuck no, because Trey Lance is not Tom Brady. But what Trey Lance could do is, could he be the next Lamar Jackson? Could he be the next Kyler Murray? Maybe. because the reason why you're buying into Trey Lance is not because of this immense passing upside. Now, could he become a prolific passer at the next level? Maybe. But you are trading for him because of the way he uses his legs and because of how important rushing is in fantasy football. You probably know this, but I will just reiterate in case you don't know. In fantasy football, most leagues are 4-point per passing touchdown. In a 4-point per passing touchdown league, if you run in a touchdown, you get 2 more points. And even if you're in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, that does kind of level the playing field. But even then, when you have a quarterback rush for 10 yards, they get 1 point in most leagues. Whereas a quarterback has to pass for 25 yards to get that 1 point. So these rushing quarterbacks are inherently just better. Now, Trey Lance's price may be a little bit heavy. It may be a little bit high. I'm very aggressively looking to acquire him right now because I genuinely do believe this guy is going to be a stud when given the opportunity in San Francisco, when he is clearly the locked and loaded quarterback one, which I believe will be this season in 2022. So my final player to discuss in today's video is going to be running back of the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Mixon, currently 25.8 years old. He will be a UFA in 2025. The team does have a potential out in 2022, but the likelihood of that happening is basically 0. He's going to be there until 2024, and then maybe they get rid of him in 2025, but he's going to be a hold for me. I know there's a lot of negativity surrounding around Joe Mixon. They need to get rid of him. He's 25.8 years old. He's going to just get older, and then, when they get older, they stop playing as well, blah, 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 blah. Joe Mixon never really put it together in the NFL until last season. Now, he's been a guy that I really liked in fantasy football over the last couple of years because of what I saw on the field. I saw these flashes. I saw that maybe if everything connected correctly, if he's getting these dump offs, if he's rushing the ball with the skill set that he has, if the offensive line gets a little bit better, then Joe Mixon can be a dangerous running back at the NFL level and be a top 5 running back. Now, last year, while I liked Joe Mixon, while I liked the talent, I was basically just off of him. He was always this guy that I really wanted to draft, and I did draft, but last year I almost kind of just had enough of it. I was like, you know what? While I like Joe Mixon, the offensive line just isn't great. Joe Mixon might need a couple more, maybe not a couple more years, but maybe 1 more year. They draft some more offensive linemen. They build this team. Joe Burrow's going to keep getting better, and then maybe in 2022, I'll be excited about Joe Mixon, and I was wrong about that because in 2021, this man was fan-fucking-tastic. Running back 3.5 PPR, running back number 4.5 PPR points per game. He had 292 carries, 18.3 per game, ranking 3rd at running back, 1,205 rushing yards, 75.3 per game, 3rd at running back, 48 targets, 3.0 per game, 28th at running back, 42 receptions, 2.6 per game, 16th at running back, and he had 16 total touchdowns on the year. So Joe Mixon is not the next Christian McCaffrey. He's not going to be seeing 100-plus targets on a season, but he's also not Derrick Henry, where he's going to probably see 25 targets a year, catch a couple of balls, and that's it. So he's definitely not Christian McCaffrey, but he's also not Derrick Henry in terms of receiving upside. So Mixon, in another year in Cincinnati, I think in 2022, I'm not ranking him top 5, but he could be top 5. And I think people, once they see these running backs hit the top 5, they're like, holy shit, I need to trade away Joe Mixon because he had this great year. It's not going to happen again. What is telling you that it's not going to happen again? The team has only gotten better. Are they going to make it to the fucking Super Bowl and win in 2022? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. But they are going to, as a team in the regular season, be dangerous, be a very solid team. And I think Joe Mixon is going to continue to hone in on his craft, continue to get better. And if the team keeps building a better offensive line and Joe Burrow keeps getting better, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be damn near impossible to stop offensively. And Joe Mixon's going to just feed off of that. So I wholeheartedly believe that the narrative on Joe Mixon needs to change, and it needs to be a little bit more positive because I love Joe Mixon going forward. So again, please make sure if you guys did end up enjoying, that you hit that like button down below, you hit that subscribe button down below, and you check out our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Again, promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $100, or just go ahead and click the link in the video description. I love you guys all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day, and as always, good boy!